Hello guys, it's Stephen here back with another video. Did you like my fancy intro as well? It's good, damn it. Hopefully you'll be seeing a lot of that over the summer with the transfer target videos in particular. Anyway, today we're going to talk about some transfers and all that kind of stuff. But before I go too far, as ever, I want to say thank you to OneFootball for helping sponsor these videos. It means absolutely loads to me. Thank you to OneFootball. It's very good. Download it in the link in the description below because it's really good. I promise you. Go download it. Get all the stats, transfer news and all that kind of stuff to fill you in between waiting for my videos, of course. But yeah, today we're going to talk about a lot of transfer news. I'm not going to talk about the financial fair play stuff because it's absolute... I don't understand it for one, because I can't pretend to understand it because I've not read the accounts. I don't understand the accounts. I'm not that kind of person. I just let the club deal with it. That statement was good fun. It was very strong and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to worry about that because it's nothing to do with me directly, personally. I want to talk about football, the fun stuff. I'm also not going to talk about the LA song sung by the City players. Personally, I've sung that song. I never meant it as offensive to anyone. Genuinely, I didn't think it was about Sean Cox. I didn't think it was about Hillsborough. Personally, to me, it wasn't about that. To some people, it might have been. To me, it wasn't. It was just a bit of kind of slightly cheekiness after all the bus stuff. That's how I took it. I thought it was about the stuff in Kiev where no one got seriously hurt, and I thought it was a bit my dad's harder than your dad kind of nonsense. You smashed the bus, so we'll talk about your fans getting in a bit of a scrap in Kiev. I thought it was about that. I didn't think it was about Hillsborough at all either, and personally I maintain it isn't. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I think the players were singing because they were pissed. Half of them didn't even know the words. You couldn't see most of them singing, and rightfully no action has been taken. Obviously I'm sure it upset some people, but I don't think anyone intended it to do that, and if they did, they're not the kind of people that I am anyway, so I would never do that. That's all I'm going to say on that. I want to talk about transfers and the fun stuff of football, not the bollocks that's absolutely followed City around this week. It's almost like people have forgotten that we're actually champions. It's only been a few days, hasn't it? I've still got my voice gone, by the way, since Sundays. You can probably hear it's like an octave lower than normal, and it's still kind of scratching around trying to find it a little bit. I've been very tired this week, but it was totally and utterly worth it because we're champions. It's like, do you remember when we were champions on Sunday? It feels like the longest week ever because of all the absolute nonsense that's gone around the club. But it's nice that football's back at the weekend for one last hurrah. We could win, obviously, famous domestic treble if we beat Watford in the FA Cup final. There'll be a preview of that tomorrow, of course. But today is just literally about the transfers. I got all that stuff out of the way because I know some people have been asking me about that and all that kind of thing, but this is about transfers and particularly Rodri. Now, apparently, according to the press, Rodri could be leaving Atletico Madrid and could be a Manchester City player. It could be someone else. Who knows? We don't know yet, but there's been loads of talk, particularly from the Atletico president Enrique Casero, who said that the club won't stand in the way of him if he wants to leave. He said, today Rodrigo is an Atletico player, but if tomorrow he has an offer and wants to go, then... And he finished his sentence there, but to me that's kind of like admitting that he could go. Now he has got a release clause of around 70 million euros, which is very, very affordable for Manchester City. We've been near that before, of course. I don't know what that is in pounds and that, but I think basically it's similar to Mahrez and Laporte and all that kind of stuff. And he fits the bill perfectly. Now his agent has been saying as well that he could be leaving, all this kind of stuff, and blah, 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 which is kind of typical of agents, to be fair. He could be using it just to get a better deal. It was only 24 hours ago that people were saying he wants to stay at Atletico Madrid, and now it's apparently changed. You don't really know with these things. It's very hard to tell. But one thing is really obvious is that a City probably do want him. Now, some reports today have gone as far as saying that Guardiola will get him. This is, I think this is Sport. Oh, not Sport. It's some local journalist over in Spain, and they're saying that he'll be a Manchester City midfielder next season. That Guardiola is smitten with him, and Cheeky and Guardiola made him their priority. So that's interesting, isn't it? Now, what do we know about Rodri? He's a very good footballer, almost like the Busquets heir, apparently. Very leggy, very rangy, very intelligent. Maybe not quite at the same level of passing as Busquets is yet, but he's one of those defensive midfielders who reads the game via his intelligence. But he does have a bit of physicality for him. Obviously, any player that plays regularly for Atletico Madrid, a very high-level team there, would also, by default, be very good defensively, because you don't play for Simeone and not be good defensively. You have to also be very organised and very tactically aware. Now, he's seen as many people as the future of midfield of Spanish football. He was great at Villarreal and got his move back to Atletico Madrid, his boyhood club there. And he's been basically very impressive in their midfield. Now, 70 million euros for potential Fernandinho successor seems very, very realistic, doesn't it? It seems very possible. There could be other clubs for him. There could be, there most likely definitely is other clubs in for him. Whoever it will be, we don't really know yet. I would like him at Manchester City, but I've reached the point now where I just want any form of defensive midfield to take the burden off Fernandinho. I'm dreading going to another season without someone else at number 6 there to really kind of hold the fort in the long run, shall we say, because Fernandinho is very old, to be 34 next season, and we're only one bad injury away from being basically useless again, or he could just drop off a cliff anyway next year. Gundogan could stay, of course, but I still think we need one anyway, and he could be that man for us. Do I think it will happen? I don't know. To me, or when the agents start coming out in the press, I start to think that they may be doing it just to get their players a better deal. And getting players away from Atletico Madrid or Bilbao, those kind of clubs, is very, very difficult because they've got a very tight-knit kind of mentality in those groups. And that leads me personally on to the next man, Antoine Griezmann, everyone's favourite, all that kind of stuff, the Fortnite stuff. I've never played a game of Fortnite because I'm 33 years old. But Griezmann allegedly is leaving Atletico Madrid. Well, he is leaving Atletico Madrid. If you didn't see it yesterday, he put a video on social media and now saying he's leaving. And the best thing about it is that apparently Atletico Madrid forced him to do that because he was going to do a documentary about his future, a second-part documentary, and announce where he was going. He's such an egotistical arsehole, isn't he? But he's a very good player. Now, Griezmann, my take on him is he's a bit of a clown, really. He's like a man-child dressed up in an adult's body, but he's a very good footballer. I think there's a period a couple of years ago when Griezmann was absolutely excellent, very close to the brilliance of like the top 2 in the world at one point. Griezmann's fantastic, and maybe he's not quite at the same level, but he's still phenomenal, definitely world-class. I would like Griezmann in a City shirt in terms of a player. I think he can do anything. I think he's a very Guardiola forward, technically excellent, incredibly hard-working, can play all the way across the front three. And it could be that if Sane does go, which I don't think will happen personally, but it could be. Well, Griezmann is the kind of guy who's flexible enough to really offer loads of variety in different positions. I like him as a player a lot. Now, apparently he has, loads of people are willing to pay the €120 million release clause, which will be the reduced figure after July the 1st. With Bayern are interested in him, PSG are interested in him, of course these clubs will be interested in him. Barcelona are allegedly interested in him as well. To me, Barcelona would make a lot more sense for Griezmann. It just seems to be the kind of place he would go, given the fact that they got Suarez, his agent, a little bit. They've got a couple of players that are underwhelmed. Malcolm might go and all this kind of stuff. Coutinho's not been the same. I know he's not the same position, but you know what I mean. He tends to be a forward there. Griezmann might also just want to play with Messi for a little bit, for a couple of years, and be the focal point. He's also very comfortable, obviously, in Spain in general. And going to Barcelona him would be a pretty decent career move. Having said that, it could go to Manchester City. I just don't see it as likely for some reason. Mainly because I think we're a year away from that kind of transfer. I think we're a year away from a forward transfer, really. You obviously would be competing with the likes of Aguero, Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, Sane, and all that kind of lot, the ones who play at the front. I think we get a bit too heavy stock there. I think we'll go for an attacking midfielder, someone like Bruno Fernandez, if that's still a thing. Probably not, but I think we'll go for someone like that. A midfielder, maybe a centre-back. I can't see a forward coming in unless it's someone generational, some young talent like Joao Felix, where they have to get in now or they won't get in at all. Would you like him? Let me know in the comments below. Griezmann is only 28. His record speaks for itself. He scores goals. He's a fantastic player. As we all know, a bit of a clown. Largely just a bit stupid, really, isn't he? I don't think he's very intelligent, but we can't really deny that he's a very good footballer. And the same goes for Rodri, really. I would like either in a City shirt and push games to shove, because they're both very good footballers who would no doubt improve our squad. It's going to be a really interesting few weeks, isn't it? Because I think it's been a little bit like mixed in terms of who we could go for. I've seen some rumours for Cancelo. I've seen some rumours for obviously De Ligt, Bruno Fernandez, Joao Felix. There's loads of players that link Manchester City at the moment, but nothing feels close, I would say. So I'm being very cautious. As ever, I always say take these transfer rumours with a massive pinch of salt, because it's a lot of kind of gamesmanship in these kind of things. Agents are using clubs against each other to try and get better deals for their players. Clubs no doubt have a list of 20, 30 players that they're watching, so these links could be true, but it doesn't mean we're going to go for them. Also, the idea that a player could be in for a move potentially, but you could change at any moment in terms of the haggling of the fee, or that they could change their mind. You never know, basically. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think of those potential transfers. I want to say thank you as ever to all these names scrolling down the side of the screen. These are my Patreon supporters, patreon.com/Esteemed Company. If you want to get involved, they're absolute heroes. And as ever, thank you for watching these videos. My voice is still definitely going, but I'll be back tomorrow with a preview of the FA Cup final, because football's actually back tomorrow after all the bullshit of this week. I can't wait. Anyway, make sure you subscribe if you're new to this, like this video, and I'll see you soon.